help me keep track of it. But maybe keep who's public speaking and whatever. Okay, join as a panelist. Okay, that's better. Thank you. Right.
Like deja vu over again. When we were just here. Hours later.
How long did the meeting last? There's been worse.
Always good. I think it.
If that's your measure of success, it's time to retire.
But I'm not seeing.
The members of the public got a little excited. Oh, I can see it dented from here.
Too hard, the other by public works.
Well, some of the members of the public, they would have, called their attorney. That throws me, it throws me too.
Well, I'll tell you what it does for me is sometimes it makes me decide to turn to go up to Fifth Street. So in some ways, it's a redirecting traffic to the downtown. It's like I'm stopped. I might as well because sometimes I I'm just trying to get to the mailroom. I mean, there are some days that's the only place I go. I just go to the mailroom back.
Yeah. And then responded behind you, yeah. Well, because he was one who made the invitation, gave us an opportunity to win the mayor. So, pretty much.
Oh, we have an attendee. Oh, Susan's here as an attendee. Can you promote her to a panelist also? Oh, I suppose I could.
So, just, hey,
There we go. Thank you. Calling a Mike Sullivan. Mike Sullivan used to walk into exactly on time. You could see him walking down the hallway here.
oh. It is 3:01. We are going to call to order this regular meeting of the Del Norte Local Transportation Commission, February 6th, 2024. Do we have a roll call on this, or do we just? Yep.
Susan, will you do roll call, please?
Yes, Commissioner Greeno.
He's not here.
Okay, Commissioner Howard,
Present.
Commissioner Altman,
Here.
Commissioner Short,
Here.
Commissioner Borges,
Here.
Tasha Alstrand,
Here.
and Chair Inscore.
I'm here. Thank you. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Ready and begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have an open public comment period. Anyone wishing to make public comments regarding matters either on or off the agenda and within the commission's jurisdiction may do so at this time. However, the commission is not permitted to act on non-agendized items. Do we have any public comment here in the room? Seeing none, any,
online.
no one online? All right, we'll close public comment. We'll go to item number 4, election of the chairperson and vice chair. So we're looking for a motion to elect chairperson first and then vice chair.
I make
Oh.
a motion to,
And I have it wrong on the agenda. It should be a county representative.
I'd make
Yeah.
a motion to elect Darren Short to that position as chair.
I will second that.
All right, any other motions? Seeing none, we will take that. Any public comment regarding the election of the chair? Seeing none, we'll close public comment and we can do this simply by affirmative. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye, opposed? You want this chair? You want to run the meeting from right there?
This is fine.
All right, very good. Congratulations. It's all yours.
Yeah, thank you. Moving on to the election of the vice chairperson. Can I have any nominations?
I nominate Ray Altman for the position of vice chair.
I'll second that.
Any further nominations? Okay, we'll close the nomination period. All in favor of Ray being vice chair, say aye.
I
Any opposed? Okay,
appreciate Ray showing up.
congratulations, Ray. Okay,
Well,
appointment of 2 finance committee members. Who are our current members? Is it
Yep, I would-
Blake and I?
Yeah, I would be willing to continue if you'd like me to, Chair, so that we have someone that's available
I think
pretty
that's,
easily from a time frame to go
I
sign.
think for consistency that we should keep the finance committee as it is.
Yeah,
I'm agreeable to that as well.
Joel Benson Hartwick will appreciate it.
okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I will officially then appoint myself and Blake as those 2 committee members. So we will now adjourn to the Policy Advisory Committee and consider our consent agenda, which is 2 items, the minutes of January 9th and the South Beach Climate Resilience Plan Scope Update.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any public comment on the consent agenda? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board for polled vote. Susan, would you do that, please?
Yes, Commissioner Altman,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Borges,
Yes.
Commissioner Inscore,
Yes.
Tasha Alstrand,
Yes.
and Chair Short.
Yes. Okay, moving on to policy and administrative, item C. City's request for planning funding to support Pebble Beach Drive. For consideration, we're looking at $20,000 in TDA money for that. Did you have anything to say about this item, Tamara, or?
We have city staff here to answer questions. And on the resolution in the TAC recommendation, it was $15,000. I just had a carryover typo on that. So to be clear, the recommendation from the TAC and the request from the city are both $15,000.
Very good. Mr. Yeager, how are you? Oh, here it comes.
Didn't sound like myself. There I am. Okay. Good afternoon, commissioners. Thank you for allowing me to speak and come before you on this request today. As we all know, this is regarding our Pebble Beach slide between the block of 7th and 8th Street.
Sorry.
And anyway, moving on. So we are willing to request this and would appreciate the funding money. The $15,000 that Tamara mentioned. Obviously, we're at the early stage of this, so who knows where this will eventually all fall out. The initial, what this planning money initially is intended for is basically public outreach. So we can discuss with the public initially, circulation, routes of detours, impact to the city, take this money to have staffing and probably an outside consultant can provide that information and research for us. And eventually also probably use this funding to pound the pavement in terms of or pounding office doors, better way to put, to try to acquire funding in a manner in which the city can actually get some work done. Problem being, so where we're at, not to digress, but we are after EO, which emergency opening funding. We've submitted a request for that through Caltrans. If that happens, then terrific. We've got 270 days to spend that money, but that will not obviously give us a permanent repair in that time frame. So there is money through FHWA to fund the balance of the project, as mentioned, from 6th and 9th Street, 9th around the point, then the Pocket Beach north of 9th Street. That funding, as it currently is available, is in the form of reimbursement funding, which means the city does not have the $30 million or whatever it's going to take to do that portion. And so we will probably need to pound on a few office doors and desks, trying to seek aid for that. So that's the 2 angles at this planning money looking for. We do have planning contracts through the city for the actual repair themselves. So that's handled, but initially that's where we're looking for
Very
how to
good.
use that money.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Is there any questions or comments from the board?
I guess, and it's always sort of a challenge, when we take on the role as being a commissioner for the Transportation Commission. And I think that it's always important that we have to take off one hat, and put another hat on, because we have to manage these funds as well. I was, and I did not have a chance to talk to Mr. Weir about this. But I was, interested in, why the city's letter was different than the TAC recommendation. Normally, when we get things,
Mhm.
typically.
Right.
If there's a TAC recommendation, there's a letter. They pretty much line up, and the city's letter lines up only in one point, and then there's two other things that were not part of the TAC recommendation. I wasn't part of the TAC meeting, obviously,
Right.
but the city was, I'm assuming the city representatives were at the TAC meeting when this recommendation was made.
Yes, myself and Andrew Layton were at that meeting. The letter was written by Mr. Weir. I've not seen Mr. Weir's letter. So I have an email from Mr. Weir, which I can read verbatim. But there was also potentially, Tamara, maybe can answer this. There may have been a timing issue. We were under the impression we need to get a letter by the end of the week, and apparently the deadline was Thursday at noon. So it was retroactively written from Mr. Weir, and he did not consult. Andrew roughed in a letter, and I did not see the version that you folks received. So I'm not.
The other two things, and I'll.
Yeah,
I'll give them to you,
I honestly
Jay.
just don't know the answer. to
Yeah,
that
and I'm
question.
sorry, I didn't
No, it's
know
okay.
that. I'm not trying to put you on the
No,
spot.
no, that's fine.
But the,
Right here.
the public outreach was the first point. Second was future funding, identify and evaluate funding strategy, be considered, and additional grant opportunities, which you sort of mentioned.
Correct.
And then the third was preliminary design update, permitting assistance, talking about 30% plans that already exist from the 2017 application, RPA funding, source permits, use up to 30% for 30% plans. These modified plans will be critical for presentation to the public and for future funding applications. And I guess that seems, that all sounds very technical to me.
Right.
And I'm not part of the
Yeah,
TAC,
I-
but
I'm sorry. Maybe I can clarify slightly. So the EO funding is emergency opening funding will only reimburse us for design work for the, I'm going to call it the temporary fix. In other words, the design that we're looking at to construct to get Pebble Beach Drive open through the EO funding will not be the permanent solution. So that design is not at 30%. So the balance of the permanent fix funding will not be paid through for this money or the EO funding. So there is a separation there that we do need design money. So we've cracked that slightly. We may need assistance in preliminary design of this temporary fix because the larger project, the non-EO funding is going to pay for the permanent design. So the 30% design that we have, the geotechnical is available to us in this basis, but the new design for the temporary fix has not been funded. And so I think that is what Mr. Weir is reaching out for, that we have some money from the city and we are also looking at this maybe to segment, to augment that temporary design. Kind of how this EO funding is working, it's essentially an emergency time material base from the county or through Caltrans. And therefore, the engineering staff and supply and geotechnical will be all part of this. But at present, as we know, we do not have the EO funding. So this is all some conjecture. So it's, we're throwing a lot of arms in the air, or balls in the air trying to catch some money so we can keep rolling with this. So there is a disconnect between the final product, how it's going to go down, if we don't get the EO funding, then what's the next step? So this money the dynamic of that may change as to what we're actually available to use it for and what we need to use it for.
Okay.
Crystal clear now.
Crystal clear? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think so. I'm not sure what kind of technical design work that's going to need to be done. The idea of $15,000 seems like a very small amount of money to do what is very technical work. Granted, we already have some geotechnical base to work off of.
Yes, and we have, I mean, to put on the second hat, we have asked the city for some money for the design as well.
Right.
So
Right.
I think we're looking for a pot that, I mean, the main thing, and not to digress or get off on the other hat, but you know, the reason for doing all of this up front is because we need to, I'm meeting tomorrow with the contractor, the subcontractor to do the wall and the design team. And the reason for that is basically we had to go out to a bid this project, then we would have to put together a set of bid specs and plans. And that would take a lot of money to do that engineering. It'd be the whole PS&E set. Because the way this EO funding is emergency operation funding, we're able to select a contractor, select a subcontractor, and select the geotech directly because they wouldn't come out, right? Why would they come out, waste their time, give you pricing, then you go to bid with it. Under this situation, the emergency opening procedure being a force account through Caltrans, we're able to select these folks. They'll come out, give us an opinion. We'll get a better idea of what we need to do. And so we can actually do a design build essentially, as long as we have the geotech on site. You know, there's obviously some risk. We'll need some sort of drawings to explain to the Coastal Commission, and we'll have engineers involved in the drawing and the design, but basically the contractors will be providing the emphasis of, will be driving the construction as opposed to a PS&E set.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tamara.
If I may.
Yes,
Oh, I
sir.
forget, we switched chairs.
Yeah, sorry.
Actually, if you don't mind, I have a couple questions. So has the city decided to move forward with the emergency opening work?
We have submitted a request for the funding. We have not received acknowledgement that we were told it would be a couple of weeks before Caltrans got back to us to approve that. Basically, it is being lumped in with with all the state damage within that storm frame. And so we have requested the money. We have not received an acceptance of that application. So we do not have the money that we think we need the money that we need to do a temporary fix. In our 270 days, we have not received acknowledgement that we will be getting that funding.
Okay, so do you have any sense of the timing on that?
That's what I said. They told us it should be within 2 weeks.
Okay.
So this commission meets once a month. I'm meeting with contractors. So when we get the 270-day notice that we're actually ready to do something, because as we all know, and the initial response to the Pebble Beach slide will not be, let's do the semi-permanent fix, within a month. We need to get something done to that slope now. And so part of the meeting tomorrow will be what's the temporary fix going to be, but also what can we do to stabilize that bank to eliminate or slow down the pace at which it's failing. And so that's why we're trying to get ahead of the game here. So we're trying to line up folks so that when they give us the notice, then obviously we'll have to make responsible funding decisions as to what we can afford and how we're going to actually process this contract.
So the temporary fix, what is temporary? Do you have an idea?
Well, the initial plan based on the 30% design is a soldier pile lagging wall. And the time frame, I mean, you can wait 120 days, 240 days just for the steel pile. We would have to go, like I said, from a 30% to 100% design PS&E spec. So we're months out on that. We have to, we have the FHWA funding set aside, but we do not have the permitting completed. So the time frame of doing the soldier pile wall is not feasible within 270 days. So the only alternative, the quicker alternative would be a micro pile and soil nail anchor wall system, which is a nice solid product, and that will allow us to get Pebble Beach going in both directions. But if we're fighting with coastal or we can't go far enough down the bluff that we can secure the toe, then we're going to eventually, like when the county had the soil nail wall on Pebble Beach, you're going to have erosion underneath it and it's eventually going to fail. So is this a 3 to 5 to 10 year fix, depending on where we hit bedrock and what they allow us to do with the toe of the slope? So we don't know that yet, but that's the only wall that's feasible in 270 days to get Pebble Beach open.
You've heard 3 to 5 years on the.
One of the numbers from initial conversation regarding the soil nail and micropile wall was I've done micropile. I've actually built micropile walls. I've bid them in drier climates where you're not against the ocean. They work beautifully because they're very solid. You don't have a lot of water traveling through them. I've done them in national parks. I've done them on the coast. But the problem is, if we're not allowed to stabilize the bottom. So we don't know where that slide is exactly where the bedrock is. You know, there is a hard pan layer that goes out. And so if that layer is high enough and we can go down to that, drive the micropiles into bedrock and we're high enough out where the surf storm surge is not be a problem, then it's going to last longer. If it's at the sand level, then we're going to need to go into the beach and put rock to reinforce the bottom of it. So that's the unknown. We just don't know. I mean, we are early on. We're just trying to get our ducks in a row so we can get people out there and offer payment to determine this. So the micropile wall could be 3 years, it could be 20 years. We don't know today.
Yeah, or 6 months.
Or,
We-
well,
we
yeah.
don't- I mean, the coastal commission, and I could be wrong, maybe I misunderstood. The coastal commission, I thought, and I just want to be open to everybody. I know I'm not popular, but you know, that's my job, is not to be popular.
I think we know how that
They-
feels.
They've been clear that they consider the micropile a temporary solution. And that they are discouraging, let me use that word, they are discouraging any tow treatment for the micropile.
Correct, but that does not necessarily contradict what I just said. If the hard pan is, 10, 15 feet above sea level, then, and we can, the coastal commission will allow us to put some rock there. That is in the approved drawings of the soldier pile wall. Okay, I shouldn't say approved drawing, but they've seen that and they like that versus just rock revetment. So they're going to allow us to do something at the toe. The micropile, as we assume they will. Until we got the written document, we don't know, but that's the design they're leaning for. They did not like the rock that was further out on the, cobble bluff or a buffer out there. They did not like that, but the design that we have not gotten any negative feedback on has been the soldier pile with some rock there. So, yeah, I mean, I don't, to say it's going to last 6 months then why do it, right? That's not our intention. The intention is the initial interpretation from our geotechnical was who's been working with Cowie and they've been on the long-term since 1997 project. Their interpretation was that the micropile would work. He's examined this, he's done further examination of the site and he's giving us the 3 to 5 years.
Okay,
Okay,
maybe
so-
I'm just jaded because of last chance grade.
Yeah, no, it's a whole different animal than, I mean, the problem last chance grade is plain slope. It's got nothing to do with what we're doing there. The last chance grade is you've got lots of layers of rock plains and can you get far enough back in? I was there when they drilled the holes. Flew the helicopter in. So I know where the rock, so that's a whole other subject, obviously. But this is basically the soil nails are on a 3x3 or 3x4 grid. So lots of tiebacks to the bank. Micropiles will be down there to support the gunite, shotcrete. They'll put a back form. They will tie it all together, rebar, pour the concrete, then backfill it, and we'll have a road
Yeah.
section.
Yeah.
So that's the gist of the micropile.
Coastal Commission say why they don't like the rocks.
So we got 2 answers from that, one private sector and one public. The way, due to the height of that bank there, 30, 35 feet, if you 1-to-1 the rock, you're 35 feet out. So you've actually got rock in the ocean. So you no longer have a sandy beach. Mother Nature has cut a near vertical bank, right? Or a 6-to-1 or whatever it is. So if you RSP it, then you're out. And then also by doing if you do it entirely with rock, then you don't have any way for the native, the grass and the weeds and the blackberries and whatever to grow back. If you do a soldier pile wall, you build down, you come up with some rock, then you're creating a ledge that you can put some topsoil on and it'll wind up looking back like what it did. So it's a smaller footprint. So then you wind up with 10 or 15 feet of vertical wall at the top, but you do have a green base adjacent to the ocean as opposed to just rock all the way down. The other angle is if you put too much rock out there.
On Pebble Beach and it seems to be working. So
Yeah.
obviously they're not going to like that.
Well, the comment there, and this is pointed out to us by our, we're way off tangent of this item, but it was pointed out by our geotech that if you do just rock a short area, like Pebble Beach, that long stretch you're referring to, is thousands of feet of rock, right? And the ocean surge comes in and it's not an outcropping, it's not wrapping around. If you go out and put a 260-foot section of rock where the rock ends, the wave action hits it, then it wraps around, hits the bank, and you cause this escarpment right there. So we have an entire surface rocked. The wave action is not wrapping around the end. It's not a buttress sticking out. Hadn't thought of that. I just got that last week from Geotech. I was listening.
Cool. Anything else? Tamara, do we have any public online with us today? Okay, seeing no public, we'll just forego that. I don't see Tasha really anxious to stay anything either, so I guess I will consider an action at this point from the commission members. Looking for a motion to adopt the resolution for $15,000, not $20,000.
I'll move to approve.
Got a motion to approve. We have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Susan, would you pull the vote, please?
Okay, Commissioner Borges,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Altman,
Yes.
Commissioner Inscore,
Yes.
Tasha Alstrand,
Yes.
and Chair Short.
Yes. Okay.
Thank
moving
you.
on. Thank you, Mr. Yeager, for being here. Appreciate it.
Wish us luck.
Yeah. Any discussion items from Tamara or the members of the board? No discussion items.
Tasha has some,
I do.
Oh, you do?
oh, well, she has some update. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, Tosh.
Tasha, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, thank you. Tamara had brought to my attention some changeable message signs on US 199. So I was able to find out some more about that work. The crews are doing hazardous tree removal, so we can expect 30-minute waits. The special operations will include helicopter delivery of cable net drapery systems to the upslope and unforeseen slides, flooring, and other unscheduled hazards. There's still quite a bit of work to be done, so the work will impact traffic until it's complete. And some of the work will need to be performed during better weather, so it could be completed in a couple of weeks, but there's so many unknowns due to weather. Anything on that before I move on?
Nope. Any?
So this was in reference to the electronic signs on Highway 101 that say it's 1 hour closures.
Uh-huh.
And so we needed an update on that. Well, and I think the signs are probably corrected now.
Oh, good.
I'm not sure, but I'll look.
Yeah, I know my family went over the hill today and we're kind of surprised to find the stop because we thought that they were open again, but anyway.
It's that exactly, is that we sort of, the work did stop and now it started again. So our community is a little confused about.
Yeah, the sign never changed, so we just thought, okay, so it's the same sign being up there. So good. I'm glad it got updated. Anything else, Tasha?
Yeah, just real quick, I just wanted to point out that we have some new staff in District 1. We have a new District Native American liaison, Jerome Washington, and we have a new public engagement coordinator, Megan Broner. So that person will be developing the Caltrans public engagement best practices document and maintaining a stakeholder database. And then our climate adaptation planning branch is in the process of hiring a hydrologist that will focus on sea level rise. And finally, we'll be hiring a full-time transit planner in the next few weeks, so we'll keep you posted. And then just lastly, the most current cycle of planning grants closed on January 8th, and we in District 1 received a total of 7 applications, and of those 7, 2 of the applications were from agencies in Del Norte County. The Del Norte County Climate Adaptation Planning for Transportation Drainage Infrastructure, and the Yurok Tribe Climate Adaptation Action Plan. So announcements on those will be sometime around June of this year. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Tasha. Mr. Howard, you had something?
Yeah, I was speaking with Matt Brady and he informed me that there's been a change in the commission. Carl Gardino will be the new chair of the commission, which I think is very advantageous for us and our projects here in Del Norte because he's the longest tenured transportation commissioner in the state of California right now. And was around in 2006 during our original ask for $199. Also, sounds like Chair Eager is termed out currently of the Transportation Commission and potentially awaiting appointment. A big move by Robert Rivas recently was to appoint Bob Tiffany, who's a San Benito County supervisor, to the position, who replaced more of an environmental leaning individual who was pretty much anti-business growth on I think it was the I-15 or I-25 corridor outside of Hollister. So that was a huge move by Assemblyman Rivas, who's the current pro tem for the assembly. Great guy. I had a chance to work with him a couple times on some projects, but I really appreciate Director Brady sharing this information, and it really helps dictate us as political leaders in the community where to pay proper attention. But to me, this was a big move, and rightly so, as we advocate for the future of highway projects in our small little county.
Given the new leadership and given the significant turnover at CTC, maybe it's time for us to try to lobby for them to make a trip north again. Because obviously that opened up a lot of eyes when they came, but things have changed and now all the players have changed. And I think that we collectively need to encourage them to realize that this is still part of California and we have
Yeah.
significant needs that they may not pay attention to if they don't hear it from us. So
Yeah.
I know you worked really hard, Tamara, to get them here before, but I think we need to work even harder now.
Yeah,
Yes.
Chair Short, on behalf of the Board of Supervisors, invited Commissioner Eager here twice, multiple occasions, and we found no success and responsiveness from her. I personally invited her as well as Tamara at the last CTC meeting in what town were we in, Tamara?
One of those towns.
One of those.
Riverside.
Riverside. But Carl and I have been talking by text here since that meeting, and I'm thinking another letter from either this commission or the city council or the board of supervisors would be ideal. So yeah, I'm all for that going out sooner than later for 199 and last chance grade. They need to familiarize themselves with that project again.
Yeah, and I think sooner than later is a really good idea.
I am all
think
about
I
that.
think that if you would be willing to, or Tam or whoever, help draft that letter, I'll make sure it's on our next agenda. Because while they're still new and in those positions, be the first one at the table to say, hey, come see our needs. Anyway, but thank you. I really appreciate that.
Okay. I guess that brings us to item 7. So we're going to adjourn as the Policy Advisory Committee and reconvene as the Delaware Local Transportation Commission. And by polled vote, approve and adopt the actions taken by the Policy Advisory Committee on the items we discussed.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Again, no public with us. So Susan, would you poll the vote, please?
Yes. Commissioner Altman,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Borges,
Yes.
Commissioner Inscore,
Yes.
Chair Short.
Yes. And that brings us to our adjournment until our next meeting, March 6th. Does it look like we'll be doing that, Tamara, do you think? Who knows? Okay. All
Chair,
right.
March 6th is Wednesday.
Oh,
Oh, well
did I
done.
have it wrong? Oh, because that we have a 29th in February.
Oh, we do have a 29. It's a leap.
I always
Sure
think of
enough.
March and February are the same,
Yeah,
but yes, we have a 29th this year, so it would be March 5th then.
all right. Okay,
I'm just glad he's paying attention.
we'll see. We'll see everyone on the 5th.
He has it all.
Thank you, Susan, for being here, and Tasha for